Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to gather a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. And it all starts with one thing, a deep understanding of human motivation, why people do what they do, and the forces that drive them. To gain that understanding, I am mining the intersection of psychology, theology, and philosophy to make you a better writer. This is episode 90, How to Zettelkasten a Book, Bib Cards, Part 2. We're on a little bit of a sidetrack here, talking about how to Zettelkasten a book because I'm trying to get to a situation where I can show you the concept that I'm talking about with understanding and where two complete ideas meet and merge in the mind. And one of the easiest ways of bringing that about is through a Zettelkasten. So this is going to be a rather drawn out example because the truth is if you want to build something up like this, it takes a little work to get there. And I'm just the patient soul enough to actually spend the time it takes to get us there. So yesterday we looked at the first side of a bib card, and I'm not going to review it here because the podcast is available. And now today we're going to talk about the second and subsequent bib cards, and this is going on towards the second and beyond. And here we're going to be really dipping into Adler's book, and we're talking specifically about chapter 5 here, where he is talking about how to be a demanding reader. And that's exactly, of course, what we think that a Zettelkasten will do for you. I think it will help you make you a very demanding reader. So we're going to be following Adler's suggestions here. Now, there's an awful lot more detail in the book. This does not substitute for Adler's book. I'm assuming you can get a hold of it, and I hope you will because it's a really spectacular book. But let's focus in on assuming that you have the book. After we've got the first page of bibliography information, now we're on our second card, and we designate that it's the second card with this paren 2. And still on the front side, the lined side of the card, we're going to be asking the basic question, what is the book about as a whole? And this is the first question that Adler proposes in chapter 5. And he has a lot more detail than that. This is just a quick summary. And so the question is, how are we going to answer the question, what is the book about as a whole? Well, that's going to require us to go back to earlier chapters where he talks about how to skim a book, because that's the best way there is to just quickly figure out what the book is about as a whole. So the purple here is saying that that's what you're going to do. You are going to skim the book, and then you're going to answer on your bib card and filling out as much space as it takes, as many cards as it takes. You're going to describe what the book is about as a whole. When you finish doing that, then I'm going to inject a question from Scott P. Shepper, which he says you must always do when starting to read a book for a Zettelkasten. And since we're doing a Zettelkasten here, it's important to include this question next. Maybe you'll already be on card 3 by now. Take as many cards as you need. Just number them 2, 3, 4, however far it goes. Okay, so now you're going to be answering the question, why am I reading this book? You picked it out for some reason. You've got a Zettelkasten, which means you want to read it actively. Why? What's your reason? I can't give you your reason. You have to put that down. But it's vital that you put it down because it's going to dramatically affect how you read the book. For example, if you are reading the book for specific information, then after you've done skimming the book and doing inspectional reading, which we'll talk about next, then you'll want to zero in on exactly that section that has the information you're looking for and just focus on that for your bib card. If you're reading the book for formation to help you be a better, more rounded person, you may want to read inspectionally the entire book. But that is will come out of this question, why am I reading this book? So it's important to know the answer to that. Now, this third question is something that you're not going to answer at this point. Maybe you're on card 3 by now, card 4, who knows. This is a question you're going to write down. What are the book's main assertions? But you're not ready yet to say what the book's main assertions are. That you're going to be do by using another type of reading that Adler describes before chapter 5, which is inspectional reading. So I will leave that to you to get that information out of Adler. But, okay, so you're going to leave this question as an open hanging question as you do your inspectional reading. When you're done with your inspectional reading, you should be able to fill out the front sides of this card and however many others you need. But already with inspectional reading, we're going to start using the back sides of our cards. Now, it'll be too much to dive into that tonight, so all I'm going to do for this particular program is just show you what it looks like. So here we are in the, pardon me, I have a duplicate card there. Here we are where I want to be. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is turning the card over. And when you turn the card over, I always put the card number on the back side of the card. And I need that number because that's always going to go on my main cards later. So I put that on the back side of the card, and then I will start doing the inspectional reading and taking notes on the back side of the bib card. That is where we'll pick up tomorrow. But one thing I wanted to mention, which is in part with this one that we have in here twice, I'd like you to notice there's a strange thing going on here, and that's that there's kind of seems to be a corner missing from this card. And in point of fact, that's exactly what's the case. I lop off the corners of my second and subsequent cards. And the reason I do that is that when I've got a stack of cards in what's called the bib box is where your bib cards go when you're done with them, I can very quickly pick up, by the fact that there's just one page that is full size, I can immediately identify all the cards and only the cards that go with this bibliography reference. I find that to be extremely handy. You can adopt it or not. That's my wrinkle. And as we go along, I will share with you some of the wrinkles that I add to the system, just because it makes it easier for me, and you can take a look at them and say, maybe or maybe not. I'll leave that completely up to you. So this is as far as we'll get tonight, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow. It's going to take a while because getting to know how the Zettelkasten works takes a little bit of time, but I hope you can see with me that this is not really difficult. It just takes a little bit of time. And of course, that's exactly what Adler's saying here in How to Be a Demanding Reader. He's giving you lots of ways of taking a little more time, because that's the very thing we have to do to read deeply, is we have to take a little more time with the book. Okay, see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.